Welcome everyone to our live class. Anyone who doesn't know me, which I doubted, my name is Janette. I'm from Case Flower School and we have Deirdre behind camera. Do you want to say hello, Deirdre?
Hello.
Okay, so today we're going to show you something very simple, and again I'm going to give you details about where you can purchase the materials, or again stuff that you can substitute it for. If there's anybody watching and you have any questions at all, feel free to put all your questions in the comments below. I'll respond back to everyone this evening. Or again, if you're interested in any of our classes here at Case Flower School, best thing to do is drop us an email, info@caseflowerschool.com. Now, what I always find with these live classes, I like to keep them simple and fast, something easy that you can copy at home. But just for yourself to remember, when you want to become a florist, it is a lot more important that you know how to cost everything, that you know your stem count, you know where to purchase the materials at the cheapest price, and you know your formulas for working out your selling prices. And that's what we would teach as part of our training courses. So again, you have flower arranging for hobbies, which is kind of what we're doing now, and then we would have flower arranging and floristry, like for the professional florist, and that's where our professional online programs come in. So again, there's 4 programs that we do: Module 1, Module 2, Module 3 and Module 4, and they're held throughout the year. So for today's arrangement, fun and simple, what do you need? First thing you need is a goldfish bowl, and you'll purchase these goldfish bowls in the likes of IKEA, and they're very inexpensive. Now I do find the one that I'm using today is from a company called Oasis. I'm sure you've heard the name Oasis, you're probably thinking of floral foam, but there actually is a company called Oasis, and again they make these containers, or they supply these containers, but they are a heavier, thicker glass, and it just makes them that little bit more expensive. But the likes of Evergreen Silk Plants, O'Neill's Flowers and wholesaleflowers.ie, they sell all these containers. And again, for anyone that's not in the trade and wants to buy wholesale, but yet wants to go to a wholesaler that's open to the public, any of them 3 suppliers will definitely supply you. And you'll be able to buy them online and they'll ship them to you. So maybe anybody watching, you could do me a favour and just tag them in the comments there for me. So Evergreen Silk Plants, O'Neill's Flowers and wholesaleflowers.ie. The next item you're going to need is a sachet of. Now the name on this one says Crystal Accents, okay? But we often call it here at the school, we call it Swell Gel, and we also call it Crystal Earth. Because again, it depends on the manufacturer, the company that makes them, they call them different names, and it's exactly the same item. The directions is on the back of the packet, and I definitely recommend reading it. But the idea is that you mix this with water. This particular packet, you mix it with a gallon of water. Now I wouldn't mix the whole packet at the same time. And this is the substance that you get. It's like kind of like a jellyish sort of effect. It looks nearly like crushed ice. It's brilliant. The feel of it doesn't bother me. Sometimes people say, oh my God, that feels horrible. But it's like jelly basically. But it looks like crushed ice. But you can buy it in different shapes, and you can buy it in different colours. You can also mix food dye or food colouring into the water when you're making it, and again you can make it different colours yourself. The next thing you need is some bear grass. Now for anyone that hasn't got bear grass, you could use a cordyline leaf out of your garden. So this is what a cordyline leaf looks like. Maybe you haven't got it, but your neighbour has them growing. And all you have to do is with the tops of your fingers is just tear them really thin. Do you see like what I'm doing there? Well, to be honest, you can tear it as thick or as thin as you want. So just to show you, out of 1 leaf of cordyline, that is the amount of, if you want to call it bear grass that I got. And it'll do the exact same effect. Now, first things first is you need to place a little bit of water into the end of your container, because that's what your flowers are going to drink. The next thing, I'm going to use the paper cup, is you're then going to fill it up with the Crystal Earth, okay? Or our Swell Gel, or Crystal Accents as it's called there. Now you can use as much or as little of this as you want, okay? Now the great thing about the Crystal Earth, it is kind of like reusable. More or less, you can't really get rid of it. So if you find that you have it there for a long period of time, I recommend washing it, okay? So how you wash it is if you use a colander, like a pasta strainer, put it in your sink with your Crystal Earths, use bleached water, wash them thoroughly, and just make sure none of them go down the drain, because obviously if they go down the drain, they will actually block your pipes. So the next thing we're going to do is get some of our bear grass. So don't take out too much at the same time. I like to cut the ends off, you know, where it's kind of white and dirty. And what I'm then going to do is place that down into the crystal earth, down into the water, and curve it around the inside of the container. And then you can kind of like spread them out there as well if you want to. And as I said, the cordyline leaf will do exactly the same job. So I'm just getting a second one. I'm going to go about a third of it around the container. I'm going to do the exact same effect there. Stick it in. You can let some of the grasses stick out of the container if you want to. And then I'm going to get another bit. So again, we get another bunch. Take off the ends. And by the way, that wasn't a full bunch that I had of the bear grass. So I had probably about a half a bunch there. So just if you're trying to kind of like work out roughly how much bear grass that I used. But it's personal choice. You can use as little or as much of the bear grass or the cordyline leaf as you want. And again, you don't have to spread it out like I'm spreading it out. You can decide to kind of like leave it all tight together. Now, even as it is there, that can actually look nice. Just make sure that's down in water. That can look nice, and it doesn't need anything else. But depending on the time of year, like obviously springtime is when you can get tulips. But be aware, you can get tulips most of the year round because they are the national flower of Holland. So you normally find these, you can get tulips, you know what I mean, most of the year round. But the best time, I suppose, to buy them is December to April, because that's when they're actually in season, and that's when they'll be at their cheapest. Now, what I like about the tulip, I'm going to remove some of the heavy foliage off it, okay, is that it is this kind of like flexible sort of bendy sort of stem. Now, sometimes when you go to purchase them yourself, you might find that the stem is very strong and rigid. If that's the case, this sounds wrong. Leave them out of water for less than an hour and you'll find that the stem will go back bendy and flexible. And then afterwards, when you cut it like I've just done and you place it down into your vase, you're able to curve it around the inside of the fishbowl as I just have done there. But once it drinks up water, because the end of the stem is back down in the water, the stem will go back hard again. That trick also works with calla lilies. So again, like make a note for yourself, if you're doing this for a wedding and you want to use some calla lilies, they would be absolutely fabulous flower to use. Another flower which is ideal for doing this display would be Singapore orchids, or as they're more commonly known, dendrobiums. So dendrobiums, again, fabulous flower for doing this display. Now you could leave as much or as little space in between the tulips as you prefer. Like I'm keeping them fairly close together, but chances are maximum I'm only going to use is 5 or 6 tulips. But like if you just wanted to use the 3 and spread them out around the container, absolutely you could do that. So that's it there with 4 in, just bringing that one up a little bit higher. We'll move that one around a little bit and we'll make room for a 5th one. So normally when you're buying tulips, there's 10 tulips in a bunch. So you can see there that you could get 2 of these displays out of the 1 bunch tulips, you know what I mean, that you would buy in your local flower shop or your local wholesaler. And again, it's not going to be that expensive. Now again, with Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, who said you can't put that on a grave? Blessing of the graves. Even Christmas time, because remember you can get tulips around Christmas time, or just even a gift for a birthday, Mother's Day, birthday, anniversary, get well soon, congratulations on your baby. This would do for any occasion. And just to show you where I did a similar one, and I used the pink tulips, and what I did was I inserted a couple of short pink tulips just down into the very centre of it, you see, like that there. And again, that would be a beautiful Mother's Day gift, but again also a wedding table arrangement. And then where you can do it on a smaller version with our little baby vase, and what I did was I just have 3 tulips just inserted down into the crystal earths, and again you can place it on top. Now I don't advise placing it directly on top, because what happens is you seal off that hole completely, and what happens is the bottom one will start to steam up. But if you place it kind of slightly irregular on a slant, which I think actually looks nice when you do that, it leaves a little gap or a little crack in between the 2 containers. It allows the air to circulate and it avoids the bottom one steaming up. So just to show you, very simple arrangements, very fast to do, works out quite inexpensive to make. But again, remember, when you're on our courses here at Kay's Flower School, we are going more into the commercial aspect, also about marketing, about social media, about purchasing all your materials, about what you will need to buy if you were setting up a business, like the overheads for running a flower shop. All of that is covered as part of our training here at Kay's Flower School. It's not just the practicals, we're also covering all the background. But if anybody has any questions on training, why don't you drop me an email, info@kaysflourschool.com. If you want to have a chat with me, there's no problem. Give us a ring at 01 for Dublin 4538649. And remember, it doesn't matter what part of Ireland you're in. Our school is worldwide. We have students overseas from all over the world. And again, because it's online, it's very flexible and you can work it in around your own time schedule. Again, hope you enjoyed our class today. Thanks a million for joining. I'd really appreciate if you shared our videos. Really appreciate that. Just go and click share it to your own page. And the great thing about sharing is you're always able to go back and re-watch it again. Thanks a million for joining, and watch out for our next free class.